There's a phase we reach in learning a language, usually around the intermediate level, that no one talks about enough. We all want to show the good parts about language learning online, but this is something we all experience. This is what I always say at the beginning when you're a beginner. You're going from zero to learning stuff. You can see your progress. Once you reach intermediate, you kind of know how to say things already. Like, I can get by with my level. But then we don't see progress because we're not pushing ourselves to the next level of fluency. And this is called the dreaded intermediate plateau. It's really where your progress just kind of stays the same. And this can last months to years. The good news is it can be fixed. We'll be talking about structure and things that you can implement into your routine today to get out of this rut. First thing you want to do when you are stuck at the intermediate level is a gap analysis. It sounds pretty technical. It's very easy. You will output the language. You will write or speak, and then you analyze, what are my gaps? What can I still not say? What am I still struggling with? It's important not to cheat here, to just produce at the level you are. You can also do this by going through old notebooks or textbooks and seeing, what do I still not remember? What do I still struggle with? Mark these, put them in a notebook or like a spreadsheet so that you can mark out that this is what I need to study to build my level. Because remember, at this point, you are comfortable with what you know. You're just gliding by. You need to build up those skills of, what do I still not know how to say or remember? My favorite way of doing a gap analysis is to write a lot. I love writing. So I'll write in Hungarian without using a dictionary. So first I write it in one go, not looking up any words, because I need 100% honest representation of my current level. It is also very humbling. I forgot the word for fruits last week. Then you go through all of the words. You can just write it like in your native language or English. I write Hungarian, English when I don't know those words. Then I can highlight and say, dang, I don't know the word for fruit. I forgot the word for this. And then I see, okay, I need to be improving on vocab. So you identify points that you need to work on. That is really, really helpful to start pushing yourself and learning more to get out of this plateau. The next thing you want to do is start engaging with content that is a little bit above your level. Still comprehensible input so that you don't get frustrated, like, I understand everything, but just a little higher than what you're used to now. If you're like me in Korean, watching reality TV, you can close your eyes and still, understand without the subtitles. Well, I'm not going to progress if I don't pause it each time I hear a new word. Every time an advanced word or phrase pops up, I need to consciously make that effort to learn it. Don't do this every time when you're watching TV or whatever. You don't want to resent the language. But when you can, push yourself out of your comfort zone to pick up on more advanced ways of saying things. Let's talk about motivation. People love to chase motivation. You need to be disciplined, motivated. That is not the problem. You may even be at an intermediate plateau and still feel, I love this language, I'm motivated, but I'm just not progressing. But for others, that spark of excitement you get when you just start a language, that can tend to fade once you reach intermediate. You are not yet at the fluency point where you feel like rewarded for all your hard work. And most people just kind of drop out and quit a language at this point. Your aim here should not be to feel motivated to continue with a language. It should be reframing how you see and think of yourself as a language learner. Oh, I don't feel like studying my target language. Well, how blessed am I to have reached the point where I am right now? Look back at all the progress you've made. That's the first step. It's not, I need to study today, but I am someone who studies languages. We reframe it as to who we are as a person and our identity, and not just an action, because we can connect better with it that way. So I almost abandoned learning Korean many years ago after I didn't get a scholarship in Korea. Lots of admin issues, government issues, not because I didn't get in. In fact, they told me I'd get in, and then things changed with the government. Nevertheless, young, naive me, I was like, I don't want to learn Korean anymore. I'm angry. And then I just stopped learning Korean for a year or two. This was 2013, 14, and I started learning Korean in 2010. So it's been 26 years of learning Korean now. 2010. I'm so dumb. It's been 16 years. You can see me not being able to do math in real time. 2010, 16 years, not 26. But I took away this thing that was apart from my identity, external things that I couldn't control, and I look back at, you know what, I am someone who learns languages. I do want to be able to call myself a polyglot. So I am someone who loves Korean culture, language, literature, etc. And this is what keeps me going. It's my identity and not external things that have made me feel down. Next thing we're going to talk about is willpower and language learning systems. Willpower only comes after you've done a task. Once you get that dopamine of, wow, I've done something, I've studied, then you feel willpower to continue. Objects in motion stay in motion. Willpower or motivation is not something that's just going to be like, ding, okay, I'm ready to study a language now, right? Sometimes we're just like, I don't want to do it. Okay, here is a myth about consistency, especially with polyglots. Wow, you speak 8 languages. You must be so consistent and so amazing. Even polyglots, even me, myself, and I, all 3 of us, we have uneven weeks. One week does not look like the next. I cannot, as much as I've tried, do exactly the same thing in 1 week that I do. What? I can't do the same thing every single week is what I'm saying. So if you think of your normal life, okay, you've got laundry to do, maybe you go to school, work, maybe you've got kids, you don't have the exact same week every week. Sometimes you have low energy, high energy. Sometimes you're just a little more disciplined. Sometimes work gets really busy. So you need to be building systems to make language learning a lot easier for you. And this is going to help you break through that intermediate plateau. For me with ADHD, out of sight, out of mind. I physically need to see my books on my table. I have this basket where I keep all my notebooks that I use regularly in one place because they are going to get lost and because I need to use them every day. My language log, which I update daily, etc., etc. So I physically see that and then I remember, oh, I need to fill that in. I have some language textbooks here. This is my French pocket verbs, whatever. This is my short stories in Spanish. I have some books in... Bruh. Oh no. I have some books in Japanese. And they are right at my bedside table. So make it easy to access your resources. A lot of people kind of forget that there are so many language resources available. We are living in the most abundant time for language resources. And chances are, if you're like me, you have like 1,000 language learning apps on your phone. And what helps me, a little bit unconventional, is I make a list of all the apps and resources I want to build a habit with and try in the week. It's really easy to forget. Then you need a form of external accountability. And this is also what I like to call an anchor in the week. You make an appointment with someone, a tutor, language teacher, language exchange partner, and you are not going to cancel that because that's rude. If you've been following me this long, you will know the reason I started learning Spanish was because of Lingoda. Lingoda is not an app, it's a live online language school. What I really like about Lingoda is it is smaller group lesson sizes. It is capped at 5 students per lesson. So you really get personalized help and support. My Spanish just grew so quickly because I did the sprint challenge. The Lingoda Sprint is a challenge built in a really structured way. You can do 15 classes for 2 months in the sprint, or take the super sprint where you do 30 classes a month for 2 months. Right now, Lingoda is running an Easter sale. You get 10% off the sprint and 20% off the super sprint. And you can get 100% cash back if you complete all of those lessons. You can get an additional 20 euros or $25 off your first payment using the code LINDIE26. Sign up from today until the 7th of April and take advantage of the limited time discount using my code and the link in the description. Next thing, look at all of the skills you have. There's a misconception people have with language learning that you are at exactly A1, A2, B1, whatever level. There are very set levels and we think, okay, I must be A2 in French. I must be, C1 in Korean. However, I have figured that different skills can be at different levels. Your understanding, your listening can be like B1 level and your writing or grammar can be A2. It is very, very possible because you are not spending the same amount of effort or time to put into each of those skills. It's a lot easier to just listen and consume content than it is to do output and producing and speaking. This is also why we can hit a plateau because we're not bringing those other skills up to this level. So if you're just using the same vocab and you're pretty comfortable with where you are, you might still be able to understand really well, you might be really good at grammar, but you're not working on building your vocab. That is something you need to target and say, for the next quarter, X amount of months or weeks, how can I get to improving my vocab? What are the resources I'm going to use? What kind of tracking systems am I going to use to make sure I reach my mini goals? You don't have to do it every day. You just need to build some consistency in a skill that you have been neglecting. Last thing I want you to know is don't think of yourself as a failure or I fell off or I gave up. And there's always a place you can start from again. Language guilt is something that I've really started noticing from language learners. Do not be guilty about this. This is life. This is a hobby. Don't expect to perform up here the whole time. Look at what have I been able to do up to now. Be proud of that and continue from where you are now. It does not help to be like, I suck. I've been stuck at this level the whole time. How's that going to help you? That's not a growth mindset. So many of my coaches who talk to me about reaching the intermediate plateau, they say, I'm dumb. I must have done something wrong. I've been learning this language for 5, 10, 15 years and I'm not improving. It's not your problem. It is about the systems you have around you, the methods, maybe even the time you spend on it. And we really need to dig deep and see what is at the core of why you've hit a plateau. So my challenge for you is to pick one language to focus on for the next month or two. You can do the Lingota sprint to help you. And track your progress there. Look at the positives. What did I learn today? What can I learn from this opportunity? How am I pushing myself to use different resources? And am I pushing my skills that I don't usually do? And then you will see your progress much faster and you'll get out of the intermediate plateau soon. Also, in the comments, leave any tips that you have, things that have helped you get out of the plateau. We'll start a conversation there. And if you want to keep the discussion going, feel free to join my language club at buymeacoffee.com/LINDIE'S. We have a Discord where we talk about all kinds of things and we have monthly language meetups. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!